If you want to learn the best way to safely buy and sell Instagram accounts in 2021, you've come to the right place. What's going on, everybody? Chuki here, back with a banger. And today, of course, I'm going to be talking about how to buy and sell Instagram accounts in 2021, and I got a couple examples for you. It just recently sold about 3 pages in the last couple weeks, and I want to detail you my experiences and the best way to sell and buy Instagram accounts and the best practices to make this transaction go smoothly and to not get scammed or anything of that sort. So the very first account that I sold was my second Bears account, and this account, it had about 2,000 followers or so. I sold it for $25. Really quick, I want to talk about pricing and how much you should try to buy and sell accounts for without being, completely unreasonable or completely lowballing. This is a fairly simple process, I think, in my mind. If a page has a really good engagement, it's going to get more than the traditional $10 per 1,000 followers. That's kind of the standard rule, and I think that applies pretty much to every account, like under 100,000. And then once you get above there, the prices can kind of vary. I don't have any knowledge there at all. So usually, if your page isn't, your engagement isn't absolutely awful, you can sell it or buy it for about $10 per follower. Now, of course, like I said before, if engagement is really good on that account, the price will be a lot higher. Like if it's, really, really good engagement, but 10K page was getting 10,000 likes per photo, they're obviously gonna be charging a lot more than the person who gets about 1,000 likes or so. And the way I try to judge engagement is about 1,000 likes per 10,000 followers, kind of. It's kind of something I kind of go by, but that's personal preference. You guys can do whatever you want as far as, finding a price. Of course, a lot of offers, when I DM people a lot lower than I was looking for, or actually lower than the $10 per 1,000 followers. They weren't too far off, so if I talked them, I wasn't looking for a lot more, then I would have been able to get them probably closer to that $10 per. First part of this video, I'm going to be talking about how to sell your account, and the second part will be about how to buy an account, and of course, best practices will go along with each. So if you want to skip there will be timestamps down below in the comment section, oh my gosh. If you want to skip to buying accounts, then there will be a timestamp down below in the description. Although some people may say to go on websites like Social Tradia or join Telegram groups, which I'm not even on Telegram, so I don't know. But I find the best practice to sell your account. Of course, if you're running a theme page, you want to DM similar pages in your niche and just DM like all of them. I don't care how many followers they have, just DM every single one that you can find. Of course, maybe if they have 500,000 followers, they're not going to waste their time. You want to DM everybody in your niche that's like under 100,000 followers. Anybody in there would probably be willing to buy an account. Or be maybe looking to add to accounts that they have. This is exactly what I did. You're going to see some evidence of some of the chats I had with a couple people and how the transaction went smoothly. I will be talking about that in just a moment. To actually get offers, people to reply to you, and to make this as safe as possible, that I like just going directly to the DMs and just starting to message people. And these theme pages, they kind of know what's up. They know what they're doing. They have the following. They know how business works. I personally think more than likely they're not going to scam you, but there always is a possibility they will. But that's why you always have to use PayPal and use goods and services, so for larger dollar amounts, what you can do is do half of it goods and services and half of it friends and family. That's just the way I did it with this one guy. He ran a bunch of theme pages. Of course, I run theme pages. It basically requires trust on both parts, and almost on my part, it takes a little more trust if he's gonna give me that other $125 once he's in the account. Because the way that would work is if he would give me $125, I give him the password, and then he gets in the account. Well, then I'm kind of screwed if I don't get that 125, but he did pay 125, so that is a possibility. You can do it. Probably wouldn't recommend doing that if you're not 100% sure about them. I only recommend doing a split like that, only if you're very sure of the other person and you trust them enough to do that, and maybe they're just a little bit skeptical of you, which when you're buying account you usually are. May kind of make their life easier, as far as them buying account. You can maybe suggest it if it's a larger transaction. If it's $200, probably wouldn't do it. $500, I would do it. $250 maybe isn't even enough, but that's what this guy wanted to do, and I was down for it. And of course, he turned out to be legit, which was really cool. But that comes along with DMing theme pages. Now, I also experimented with just posting on my story. This is how I've done it in the past. I've just put up a story saying, selling an account, DM your best offer. The problem with that is you will lose a lot of followers and your engagement will drop a little bit. So be careful when you do that. Know that that's going to happen. However, you will get the most ridiculous DMs ever, man. Guaranteed. You will get a couple people, maybe just 1 or 2, but you're going to get some people who legit want the account. They're not really into theme pages, but they would like the account. So those people can can be good to sell to. They're usually legit. I mean, you're gonna get some of those scammer people that are gonna offer, be careful people who offer high price, like way over what you're thinking, what you want. Likely, of course, they're gonna be scamming you. That can be another option. Will be willing to buy the account and do it at a fairly reasonable price. They may not know their prices as well as somebody who runs theme pages and is used to doing that, or they could even be a flipper, to be honest with you. Because theme pages, they usually want to lowball you, and they know prices a little bit more than the average Joe. So sometimes targeting the average Joe might be a little bit better. Someone who is genuinely interested in the account itself. This could be good people to target. However, like I did say, you will lose some followers, and that can be a little bit of a sketchy route to go at times. So in my mind, the best way to sell Instagram accounts in 2021 is to DM a ton of people in your niche, and eventually some of them will reply, some of them will be quicker, some of them, some won't even respond to you, which is completely fine. You don't really care about that. It's not a huge deal. All you gotta do is copy something like, hey, would you be interested in buying this account? And you'd be surprised, a fair amount of people do respond. You will get those lowball offers, but solid chance you will get some that will be a little bit below your target price, and you can negotiate them up, or at least meet them in the middle, something like that, and you get a deal to work out. And always use PayPal. By far the safest and best way to make a transaction when you're buying and selling accounts. And another note, buying and selling Instagram accounts is against Instagram's terms of service. Just be aware of that you could possibly get in trouble. More than likely, 99% chance you're not going to, but you are selling the account and you are going to give them a password. You will probably have to give them a code, or say this was you if they're living in a different part of the country, or really far away. You will definitely have to give them the code, or whatever the case is, because I know Instagram, they don't like the suspicious logins. So make sure you do that. Of course, you let them in, and then some people will ask for the original, if you have the original email, and if they can use that, or if they can get the email too. So what I like to suggest is, when you create an Instagram account, let's just say Joe the Farmer is your username, just create a Gmail, joethefarmer@gmail.com, and then people, if they want that email, the original email, then they can have it, and it's not a big deal. And that email you're not going to use, you're just going to use that for that Instagram account. Just to create it, takes 10 seconds to create a Gmail account, and it just makes it really easy. First, they can go in and just change the email, and then they can change the password as well. So there's both sides. It makes it really easy if you just kind of have that Gmail account. But of course, you can also just let them change the email, and then they can of course request to change the password, and then they will change the password, and then you just log out and you're all set. So selling Instagram accounts in 2021 is a very simple process. Always got to be careful of scammers trying to not pay you. And of course, in this situation with bigger pages that know what they're doing, they've been running Instagram accounts for a while, usually legit, and you have a really good chance of making a good deal with them. So now you want to buy Instagram accounts in 2021. This is going to be a very similar process and a simple process, just as selling Instagram accounts in 2021. What you're going to do is just DM pages saying, hey, would you be interested in selling this account? You can just do that for whatever niche you're interested in, and just go into those pages. I would definitely suggest not buying accounts under 5,000 followers. Just go 5,000 and probably below 75,000 if you want to get the best bang for your buck. More than likely, make sure the page has a good engagement rate, but not too good of an engagement rate, because then they're going to charge top dollar. Of course, you can make this decision on your own, but I'm just kind of making some suggestions here. You want a good engagement rate, so the account's not dead or banned, or shadow banned, whatever the case may be there. Now, if you're going to buy a dead account, you may be able to get it for a steal, and if you know what you're doing, you could try to revive that account and eventually flip it. But I will get into flipping Instagram accounts in another video, but this is going to be talking about best practices for buying accounts, and usually that's not the best practice. So after you DM them, and you DM maybe 15, 20 accounts, and this also applies to selling, you want to DM 20 accounts roughly, saying, hey, would you be interested in selling your account? And of course, the practice that everybody does, and you always try to do, is you never try to give your number first. Now everybody does that, so somebody's gonna have to budge. And lately, what I found actually is just give your number out, all right? Because if it's not worth your time, you're just gonna dance around. Just give your number first. And when you're selling accounts, it goes the same way. If you're looking for 250, if they're not even close, don't bother with them. And it's they're gonna laugh at you. Okay, next person. You don't have to waste time with them. You move on. When you're buying accounts, most people will be pretty reluctant to move, so it does make it a little bit challenging to buy Instagram accounts. Some people, they want a ridiculous amount. I had this experience when I was trying to buy a dead 25,000 follower account. The guy had not posted in 2 years, and I happened to DM him, and he actually responded, and he wanted a lot for it, or what I thought was a lot for it, and he was not moving, man. Now, if they respond and they are not interested in selling, you can of course ask them if they know anybody who is selling their account, and you can kind of make some small talk with them, try to make friends with them, and be polite, and maybe you might get some leads to potentially buying accounts. I think that's a great practice because somebody might know somebody else, and they might know somebody else, and eventually you may find an account that you want to buy, or maybe multiple. It really just depends on how it all works out, but it never hurts to have a few contacts that you can hit up if you want to buy some accounts. Same goes, of course, for selling accounts as well. When you're selling accounts and maybe they're not interested in buying an account or your account, you might say, hey, do you know if anybody else would be interested in buying this account? Maybe they might know somebody, maybe they're in like a little power group chat or something. They might have some Instagram friends as well, and they might know somebody who's looking to buy an account like yours, and they can recommend you to them, or vice versa, and maybe a deal can get done. So word of mouth is a great way to buy and sell Instagram accounts as well. So DMing, it all starts with the DMs, man. Just DMing people. You might be able to make some friends and kind of get on their good side. You might be able to find other people who would then be willing to buy or sell your Instagram account, of course varying on your situation. So don't waste your time on websites like Social Tradia or whatever other website there may be, or Telegram accounts. The Telegram method, I don't know, I haven't personally tried, but I just think DMing people within your niche, people who would be most likely to buy accounts or sell accounts, that, very similar page, maybe they want to add to their account, bag, and just kind of build their own accounts and have a monopoly on their niche. Well, then they can do that. And I just think getting with big thingy pages is just the best way, because they know what they're doing and they're not gonna, sit around and waste your time. If you did enjoy this video, if it did help you out and it brought you some value, drop a like and subscribe more content. I talk about Instagram growth on this channel all the time. I do crazy challenges trying to make money online as well. So stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.